And it's the time of year now to put down the Scott's Weed and Feed Fertilizer here on Centipede Grass here at Emerald Isle, North Carolina. I'll walk around and show this has not been cut in several weeks, all the weeds that are now coming up. And we're also going to do some lawnmower maintenance here on this Troy Bilt TB230. We're going to change the oil in it this year and replace the air filter. We're going to clean this up really good as well after we first use this and mow. Let me walk around and show you what the yard's looking like. This is the time of year that centipede is just starting to come out, springtime. And with it, the weeds come with it as well. And that's what that weed and feed will do. When the centipede comes completely out, growing, it'll choke out these weeds, but you can see I got dandelions and just a mess here. So that's what we're going to do with that Scott's Weed and Feed. And we're also going to get the sprinkling system cut on more than one day a week. And our palm tree is looking pretty bad. The palm trees all over this island are looking like this. They were just, with the winter we had, I got some green up there. I hope it'll make it. We're going to keep watching this, but it's the worst I've ever seen it look before. Hope we don't lose it. Crepe myrtle tree that I cut back is coming back out. These are hydrangeas. And we got some blooms in there. Hopefully they come out. This is a real pretty one here. And just enormous amount of weeds. There's some more hydrangea blooms that'll be coming out. Azaleas have already bloomed over. Yard's looking bad. But this centipede is amazing how it will fill in. And this will be, in just a few months, as green as it can be. Right now it's really weedy, early part of the spring here. So walk around and make sure I get all these sticks picked up. And we're just going to mulch all this in. Very small yard, as you can see. And then we'll use that weed and feed and get the water sprinkler cut on to wet it in. And we'll do lawnmower maintenance. Let's first get started by cutting this. And we'll first mow this grass. And let's get this Troy Bilt started here. It's been since early March since this was last used. Let's give this a start, see if it'll start up. And a great running Troy Bilt. And so we have mowed the weeds. This is not a lot of grass yet. The centipede's starting to turn green coming up. I'm worried about that palm tree. So it looks better. Now we'll put down our weed and feed fertilizer for centipede. Somewhere around June, this will be a world of difference here. All this will fill in and be nice and green. Centipede thrives off heat. So now let's fertilize. And now that the yard is cut, we're ready to fertilize here. And always check your weed and feed fertilizer. Use on St. Augustine grass, Centipede zoya, carpet lawns, because I've known some people who have gotten different weed and feed and killed their centipede. We're going to use a Scotch drop spreader here, AccuGreen 3000. And directions here for a drop spreader, Scotch drop spreader. You set this at 7 1/4. So that's 7 1/4 right there. And this is what this looks like, kind of pinkish in color. And one thing I like about Scotch is that's 100% fertilizer. There's no filler ingredients they put in here. And this one little bag here will last me 2 seasons for this small lawn. I normally will do this twice to make sure we get all the weeds. We just pull the handle back and we just apply this. Kind of lining this. This goes pretty quickly here. And we're now done with mowing and fertilizing. First time this year. Just kind of show you what this looks like. Find a spot in the yard here and you can see some of the pink granulars mixed in here across the yard. And this will get watered in, which is what we're going to do next. And this is my rainbird system here in the shed. This yard has 3 zones. We have the side for the bushes. Zone 2 is for the grass on the side of the house. And zone 3 is a front yard and backyard. So there's nothing in zone 1. It actually goes to zone 2, so we're going to hit advance. And that will skip, hit again, and you may hear that. That is zone 1. So let me show you where that's getting watered at. And this is zone 1, which just waters ferns, and we do put some live plants in here during the season. Got 4 pop-up heads here. That's what they water. And to go to the next zone, you either let it finish up with the time or just press advance. And this is zone 2 of 3, which does this little bit of a side here. Got a head under that. I drain your plants. Sometimes we have to clean these out. You can see one popped up over there. Actually 4 heads on this side here. Let this water in a little bit, and then we're going to do zone 3. So this is zone 3, which covers the front and back. Got 2 heads that rotate around. Get some dirt off this one. Replace some of these older rainbirds with this Orbitron. Actually do very well. And that also waters the bushes over here. Got 2 in this area, and there's 1 here underneath this bush that rotates around. So that's zone 3 in the front. Let me show you zone 3 in the back. And this is zone 3 in the back. I have 3 heads here. I have to watch myself don't get wet with this one. There's one on the corner here that goes out. The one in the center, which is rotating, will water the entire center here. Does a 360 rotation all the way around. I got one in the corner here. So these 3 heads will pretty much water this entire backyard. This has run a few minutes now. This is good enough to get this fertilizer just wetted into the grass here. Let's check the back. And that is all we need. We don't want to overwater this with the fertilizer here. So we're going to go ahead and cut this off. And you cut this off by just hitting the manually advance button again. Got this Troy Bilt cleaned up. Now it's time to change the oil, and we're going to replace this air filter. We're going to start it up and let it run, get nice and warm first. Cleaned up really nice. There is some rust beginning to show here. This is year 3. This lawnmower has been here at Emerald Isle, and eventually rust will show up on anything. Good thing about this mower, it has a lot more plastic than my previous Troy Bilts here, and this will not rust out here, but it's starting to show that salt air rust after being here for 3 years. Got this as a moving sale back in 2015, and I got a grass catcher with this and a side chute. It's a model TB230 with one of the last nice Briggs & Stratton engines. So let's give it a start here and let it get warmed up. And underneath, this blade looks really good, so I'm not going to plan to sharpen this yet on this Troy Bilt. And here we go. Really good now, and we're just going to do a tilt and dump on this oil change. And we got the spark plug boot off. This Troy Bilt, we turned it up, carburetor side up, and just looking underneath here, this blade is still in really good shape. I will bring my sharpener here. It's checking for rust. You can see some paint peeling off here. And just tilt and dump. Got a old water jug here. See if we can pull the dipstick out. And there we go. We're going to let this drain. And actually that oil is really not even dirty in here, but it's time. Ospreys flying around here today. And we've drained about all we can out of here, so we're going to put the dipstick back on and then turn this mower back up and refill it with oil. And this just happens to be the brand that I like. I usually put high detergent 30 weight oil in my mower, straight 30 weight. And we're going to slowly start filling this up and checking the dipstick. And while we're doing this, we're going to put the air filter in. And we'll put a new air filter in this TB230, and I will use this one in a future mower that I may find. And it is not bad. It actually just needs cleaning, so we can put this in a future mower. So I also cleaned out this air filter housing, and we'll put a brand new air filter in this TB230. And if this comes out, we have this right to the second hole level like it should be on this dipstick. So oil change is complete, air filter changed. We're going to give it a start here. And something I do that I probably don't show, when I change oil, I leave the spark plug boot off. And I just like to circulate the engine around a little bit. I don't want it to start dry. And then I put the boot back on. And we give it a start. Flood a little bit. There it goes. Run with the new oil. Not much gas in here either. This Troy Bilt is ready for the season.